Hello Internet, welcome back to my blog room, and today I'm asking one question, and today's question is, do retro games age better than modern games? Now, retro games aging better than modern games, well, what I mean by that is games from the 8-bit, 16-bit era compared to games that were released 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. Now what I mean by this is, true from my point of view, I grew up with the Mega Drive, SNES era, etc. But we've seen a fair few games of late getting either HD re-releases, etc. from very classic games such as DuckTales or Castlevania starring Mickey Mouse. The Gianni Sisters, I think, was another one. You know, and there's a fair few other, Flashback being another. But I looked at those games, and I confess I've never played those games back in the day. But I've been thinking about this for a while, and I've played, on the PS2 classics from the PS3, etc. And I feel like the graphics, especially for games that try to go for more realistic look, right, have aged terribly, right. Gameplay wise, you expect things to have moved on a little bit, especially in a 3D game, but graphically it does not age at all, in my opinion. I played Grand Theft Auto Vice City. To a degree it tries to go for a level of realism in its looks for the time, but there's also been a kind of, I won't say cartoony vibe, but it's a bit like that. But I remember just looking at the graphics recently, think, God, that looks awful, but I appreciate, obviously, that at the time it was amazing to look at, right? But I can't help but feel that in 10 years' time we may look back at Grand Theft Auto 5 and think, that looks horrible, It may not necessarily be the best looking game out there right now, because at the end of the day, you just do, for big open world games like that, you do sacrifice graphics in order to put, a big world in. But I feel like when you look at classic 2D side scrollers like Mario, Sonic, etc., Zelda even, games that had very simple but colourful art design, right, seem to have aged far better, than games that were released 10 years ago and they've tried to do HD re-releases of them. Case in point, in my opinion, when I think about that, is look at Wind Waker. Wind Waker had a unique art style that, detracted certain people from that when that came out on the GameCube, right? But I've seen in motion on the Wii U, I've seen videos on YouTube, etc., and it looks utterly gorgeous, right? It really does. It looks absolutely wonderful, right? But its particular art style, it's very simplistic, very much a cel-shaded cartoony look, right? That I imagine that putting in an HD look make the images pop out. You take games like Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank have had the HD treatment, and they're very and they make the transition very well. It seems to be games that try to go for more realistic take seem to be the ones that age a lot more quicker than games that go for the more cartoony, colourful vibe. But from a gameplay point of view, I've recently played Mega Man 9 now. But now I know that Mega Man 9 is not a retro game because it was released in 2008, 2009, something like that. But the developers behind it wanted to make it exactly like the classic Mega Man games, all the way down to the little glitches and technical limitations of the time, that to make it feel like this came out the NES era, right, really did. And I had a lot of fun playing it, right? I really did. I had a lot of fun playing that game. And I just feel like that I've seen HD remakes of games, and they don't seem to do enough to justify for apart from the nostalgic purposes of really going to the bother of doing the graphics up, because they don't add enough to the gameplay, and they don't add enough new content. I mean, I played the original Castle of Illusion before playing the HD remake, and I could see where they, changed some things around in that, but I was left thinking, I think back in the day I would have appreciated Castle of Illusion, think, no, this is a fine game, but I think from a gameplay wise, the classics like Mario, they haven't changed. Or Mega Man, they haven't changed because they were just so perfect and fine for what they were, right? That it's up to the developers whether they want to give an HD, spruce up to it in the case of Mario, or in the case of Mega Man, stays it is. But I'm just fascinated to want to know what people think about this, because, like I say, I think games that try to go for because there is an obsession within the gaming industry about photorealism, about trying to make things look as lifelike as possible. I mean, God knows, back in the PS1, 2 days, we may have played a sports game, something like that, or even Gran Turismo games like that, where you think, God, they look absolutely real, and when you look back now, you think, no, they don't. They absolutely don't, right? I think we're getting closer, but I think to sort of like that holy grail of photorealism, but I think it's getting a bit slower now. I think technology can only maybe at the moment advance so much before maybe we hit, a big, huge, giant leap, to say, right, this is as lifelike as you're ever gonna get, But like I say, games, it'd be interesting to find out in the next console generation, where we look back at maybe some of the early the PS3, Xbox 360 games, and maybe some of the biggest titles that came out at the time, that goes for that more realistic looking vibe. That, do we look back and say it hasn't aged well, and yet you still get a lot of people who will pull out their own NESs and Sega Master System, Mega Drive, SNESs, play classic Castlevanias, Mega Mans, Marios, Sonics, But is that to do because of how old we are, or is it, because they are such classic games that they're just, perfect gameplay wise, you can't help but play it, or is it just all nostalgia, and I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to it, but I just think it opens an interesting debate on whether, if all classic games from the 8-bit, 16-bit era, have those games tended to age better than their 32, 64-bit counterparts. So, please let us know what you think, and if you have any ideas about any questions that you want me to answer, then I'll be more than happy to answer them in either a video or in a comment. And please subscribe if you like the video, and I'll be back very soon with more topics to talk about, and hopefully not just gaming, because like I say, I want to talk about maybe things that are on my mind, about movies or sports, and this is a blog room. It's just what's on my mind at the time. But gaming's my biggest passion, especially with the new console generation coming. That gaming's on my brain every day at the moment, and is liable to stay there for quite some time. So, like I say, thank you for watching, and if you like, leave a comment. I'll be more than happy to reply, and be positive or negative in reason. And I'll see you again soon. Be lucky.